And welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our first webinar of the year in 2026. And so for the people that don't know me, I'm the founder and CEO of Mobble, Jock Lawrence, and we started Mobble back in 2018 on the family farm. And since then, I've turned the company into a farm management platform, which serves thousands of farmers around Australia, NZ, and the world. Um, and yeah, we're all about making farmers' lives easier and more successful in everything that we do. And we do that through our software with record keeping, animal health records, mapping, and keeping all the team with really good communication across the team on the farm there. So it's simple and effective. A lot of you already use Mobble, so I'll keep this really practical. I'll also give a bit more of a broader demo as well, so people that are new to Mobble can see it and it's all its functions. So today I'll be focusing on a Mobble demo. I'll be focusing on sort of setting up and resetting up Mobble as well for people that may have got behind their records after New Year's celebrations. I will deep dive into things like mapping and namings of mobs through classes. And I want to touch on a couple of our new features as well, which is file and image uploads across the app, as well as our new integration across Farmbot and what's next for us as well with integrations in the future, which we're really excited about. So as Sam said, if you have any questions, chuck them in the chat. And we'll have the Q&A towards the end. Sam might interrupt me and ask the questions directly if it flows well as well. But also, by the end, some of us will be able to come off mute and ask questions and have more of a conversation. So keep it pretty low key, pretty relaxed, and sort of get stuck in and go from there. All right, I'm just going to share my screen. That's awesome. All right, can you see that, Sam?
Yeah, all good. Go for it.
Thank you. So this is one of my parents, the family farm up near Avenel, Victoria, Australia. We run sheep and cattle. And I'm going to use this farm just to go through it as a real live working example of people using Mobble. And yeah, so the first thing I'm going to touch on. So the Mobble is a web application on the computer, like this one. And also it's a phone, we've got a native phone app as well, which is used out in the yards, and works online or offline, out in the yards. And that view looks a little bit different, but it all works very much the same. So I'm going to show you the computer version, has a bit more reporting in the computer version, but know that most of the functions on the computer you can do on the phone as well. We'll note again, it does work offline on the phone. It has GPS location as well, so you can see where you are in the paddock even when you are offline. And yeah, you can add your whole team to it so everyone can see what's going on the property. Nice. So just a quick overview of the product. So I'll start on the map. You can view Mobble in a few different ways. You can view it by all your mobs, paddocks, or the map. I apologize, but this I'm talking in Australian lingo for people from North America. So mobs are herds and paddocks are fields, but you can change the language settings within Mobble as well. And I'll quickly do that now, actually. So if you're got a setting that you're not familiar with or you want to change, you can change your language via the profile and change it to a North American native sort of English. Also, it's worth noting that if you're new to Mobile or haven't seen this in the past, if you use a different stocking rate unit in your area than what you're currently using, you can change this via the settings as well. So you can use adult equivalents for Northern Australia or DSE for Southern Australia, and is New Zealand stocking units, North American AU there as well. If you're used to acres, feel free to change it to acres as well. So you can change all those units and formatting in there just to make it more, native to what you're used to. All right, so the map. So you can pretty much map out anything with Mobile. You start by mapping out all your paddocks, and you can map out assets as well. So things like your tanks, your silos. You can also map out things like pipelines and roads. So it can become that sort of mapping or that farm twin, that digital view of the whole farm. Um, and yeah, and things like tasks as well. My parents like to map in locations of weeds, for example, so they know where the weeds are to spray when they get time, um, and things like that. I will quickly note it's really easy to map out the farm yourself, but we can upload the paddocks for you. If you have a digital file of the farm, we can import it for you. But it is really easy to do that here in the web app. So most things in Mobile, when we add information to Mobile, it's done by a plus button down the bottom. On the phone, it's in the middle. On the computer, it's on the right here. Adding a paddock in or a map asset like a silo, it's all really simple. You just press the button. And for a paddock, you would just be going around the boundary. This is a little bit easier on the computer than the phone. The phone, I think we can do a couple of improvements to make it easier, but at the moment, I would recommend mapping out your farm or extra paddocks or new paddocks via the computer version. Just a lot easier. All right, so moving on to the livestock management. So Mobile is we do focus on the livestock side of the business. You can do basic cropping records like your spray records, your fertilizer records, and things like that. So you have a full history on your paddock. But yeah, we do a lot of our work is done around the livestock management side of the piece. So very easy to move mobs, on the phone or the computer. You can just drop and drag them into the paddock that they're going to. You can get information up on your mobs really quickly. So I can see these are our top line ewes. They're classed as firsts. I can go in to this mob or this herd, and I can see some more information. I can see pretty much anything that's ever happened to this mob back to forever. I can see they were last drenched on the 7th of the first, and things like that. And we're creating all those records as we go. So, as we're doing those drenching records, they're coming into the yards, we're moving them there. We're doing, yeah, those actions and recording that within Mobble via one of these actions. Um, Same with the paddock. If I click on a paddock, I get some more information. Talk about grazing management. We have things like how long the paddock has been grazed for, our average stocking unit per hectare over time. So we know how hard this paddock's been used over the last sort of 12 months or at the moment. If I click into this paddock and get to go to paddock info, I get way more information on this. I can see every single mob that's moved in and out of this paddock over time, and tasks that have been completed, etc., etc. I also get a historic livestock view. I can see how heavily, um, yeah, this paddock's been used over the last in 2025. This paddock's had a lot of set stocking in it, and you can change that between DSE per hectare or straight DSE. And these lines here are an average, and they give you sort of a paddock performance of that paddock. So that's a 12-month rolling average of the DSE per hectare or the stocking unit per hectare, which is of interest for those people who are doing more intensive grazing, or just in general as well. Um, you can view paddock information via a table, which sometimes is a bit easier to visualize. You can order the table in any way you like as well. So you can see, for example, like which paddocks have been, well, the yards doesn't make sense, but the which paddocks have been the hardest grazed um, compared to others, which have been not as grazed as heavily. You can see these ones down the bottom. These are some of our rougher paddocks, so you'd expect them to be a lot lower, for example. In Mobile, we're doing a lot of compliance record keeping in here as well. So things like all your treatments, animal treatments, your paddock treatments as well. So putting on a mob action, you can attach things like a product to it. So we have a full inventory here, and you can attach to say a drench, and we're recording compliance fields like withholding periods, date of manufacturer there as well. Um, We've also added the ability to add files to your mob actions here. So if you want to take a photo of, say, your batch IDs or something like that, you can attach that there, or a photo of the cows themselves. You can attach that there. So nearly anything, use your imagination. You can use files, attach files to these mobs as you go. And then we're creating summaries on all those records. So if you get audited, especially in Australia and New Zealand, which is compliance is quite heavy, we have all those records ready to go.
Jock, we've just had
Uh,
a
yep.
question come through on mobs and herds, so I think it's quite timely. And it's can you associate specific animals in each herd, such as entering each animal by tag number?
Yeah, so Mobble, as by the name, is a mob-based software. So these 281 or 276 first cross ewes, we don't know the individuals in this herd. Lots of commercial farmers will use something like a True Test or Gallagher alongside Mobble. Um, and I was just talking to someone the other day who used their True Test for all their average weights alongside the system, and then you can input those sort of weight records within Mobble, or add a class to a mob to say these are the heavies or the lights or things like that. So not explicitly, although we do this for specific livestock. So we have this bull here, for example, and we put the bull's ID as a class, and using the class is a way to name a mob. So you can do it, but I wouldn't do it for the whole herd or the whole flock. I would do it just for your maybe your studs or your specific rams or bulls that you want to track that over time. Although it's massive interest though for us, individual world. So anyone that uses individual well or looking to use it well or better, get in touch because we're doing a lot of research in this space at the moment. Yeah, thanks. That answer the question, Sam?
I think so. That question came all the way over from Tom in Idaho. So love to hear that coming across. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Tom.
Another question
Um,
just came through, sorry, from Lucy saying, do you have to manually enter products into your storage or is there a preloaded list of products on the market just to make sure withholding periods are entered so they don't change with the product? So if you want to jump into inventories, if you're ready there.
yeah, awesome. Great question. So it's a self-managed inventory. But the benefit here is you just have to add these things in once to get it right. So this is a chemical list that you manage yourself. Um, and let McJewel, go into one of these. But my parents aren't very good they've got negative inventory, so they're not very good at managing their inventory, but that's just them. So you can put things in. So once you've got the chemical list, I'll just change this for them. Um, you can put all your withholdings in. So you've got withholding period, da, 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 save that to that McJewel product. Um, and then you don't have to change it again. And then what you do is every time you get more product, you add it as a batch to the inventory item. And then all these things like withholding periods are saved. And within the batch, we're saving more information like batch IDs and date of manufacturer and stuff like that too. Um, so to answer the question, once you've created this list, um, you don't need to re-add them in again. You just add more product to it. So add batch, which is just adding more product to that inventory item. And then when you're out in the field, in the paddock, in the yards, you can go ahead, add a mob action. You can also do this. It's worth noting you can do bulk actions. So I can filter here for merino ewes or something, and select them all. So if you're doing lots of the same thing at the same day, you can do it all at once, make it really fast, make it really quick to enter that information. Worth noting, the inventory is live, so you can see a. Hopefully, I'll get one that shows it. Last 12 months. These products are. You can see over the last 12 months, this is the usage over time of this product, so you can get to understand how much you're using year to year or month to month, and stuff like that too. So the inventory is alive and it's tracking the usage. Hope that answers the question. All right, I'm gonna touch on a couple other things outside the generic Mobble thing because we had a couple of questions come in over the as people were registering for the webinar. One of them was about Mobble Connect. So one of the beauties about Mobble is you can add your whole farming team in here. So we have my two brothers, my mum, my dad, our worker Jared, who all have access to this property. They can see all can see what's going on. They're updating records on the fly. They have less need to jump on the phone and ask questions because all the information is right in their hands. Now, you can also add third parties to Mobble. And there's a question about this, and so I'll touch on it. We have this section in Mobble called Mobble Connect here in the settings. And you can add people like farm advisors, livestock agents, accountants, contractors, even your auditor, which is just yeah, even your auditor when they come over, so they can get ahead of the report. Um, to Mobble as well. And all these views, they have more restricted views of Mobble. For contractor, for examples, this is a very broadly used extra access. It's just like a view-only view of the map. They can see where livestock are, they can see all the paddocks, they can see their location on the map, and pretty much nothing else. Everything else is pretty much hidden from them. And it's like a short-term access to Mobile. So great when you've got people in doing, so let's say if they're contracting, fences, so they can see where the fence lines they need to do are. It's great for people doing contract fertilizing, fertilizers, trucks coming in and knowing which paddocks to fertilize. Mustering as well. So really widely used extra third-party access. Another one's the Farm Advisor. So Farm Advisor has much more access. They have access to most of the property that you invite them to. But they can't make edits except for tasks. So they can add and complete tasks. So it's more of a view only view of the whole property. So they can't actually make the changes themselves. And the accountant, as an example, is mainly use access to sales, purchases, livestock totals, natural increases, casualties, and your livestock reconciliation report. So they can see all this and don't have to call you and ask for that CSV or that spreadsheet. Um, yeah, so that's Mobile Connect. So yeah, please go ahead and use that. It's a great functionality. People have been using it a lot and it saves a lot of time. It's worth noting because I've talking about accounting, we are recording things like sales, purchases, your natural increases and casualties on your livestock. And what that creates is a livestock reconciliation report. So you end up with have a starting head and a closing head, and then everything that's happened to those livestock between those two time periods. So this is the last 12 months, and you can see the livestock numbers changing over time. This is when our land marking happens. We're adding in more livestock there. Um, you also can see the average DC on the property too here, which is interesting. But yeah, it comes to a full livestock rec report, which the accountant can have direct access to. And we're looking to improve this further this year as well, which is pretty exciting. Um, yeah, so people coming back into Mobile and setting things up. Okay, I'm going to come back to this. So mapping out your paddocks, getting us to import the paddocks for you, we can do that. Starting to add in your mobs. And one thing to consider when you're adding in your mobs and your livestock is this classes section. So it's a way to name mobs. I'll just find that. Here we go. So for these merino ewes here, these sheep here, we've got them classed or classified as firsts. So this is basically a way to say these are merino ewe firsts. So if you've got a certain way you'd like to name your mobs, it's a great way to do that via classes. So you can do that by going to edit a mob or when you add mob directly in, and you can select the class here. Now you can add all your custom ones. Now Mobble's very customizable. You can add in, your custom breeds, custom namings, and different things. And yeah, you'll be able to add in classes that are relevant to you. Maybe something like heavies. These are the heavy steers, or something like that. So you can use that to use it to imagination go wild. You can name them any way you want, and that'll come back into the reporting. So we'll know if we class these as heavies. If we look back to this date in a year's time, we'll know that we had, this many heavies or whatever across the property. So we're reporting on all these things over time. So that's a great one to do. And if you're getting back into Mobile, I think so back from the new year, a great thing to do is go through into the settings and go to classes, types, and tags. This is where you can manage your classes and genders and stuff like that. And go and click, do a bit of an audit because this can get quite messy sometimes, especially if you change it quite regularly. Do a bit of an audit, clean out the ones you're not using anymore, add a few extra ones in, try and standardize it across the properties. Um, and then it'll be just a clean start, so it's no confusion when you're adding or changing livestock. Same with your, say, cattle breeds. For the ones you're not using, you can go ahead and delete them and just leave, say, Angus, for example. And it'll just make it a lot clearer. Some of the forms pre-fill if there's only one option, for example. So yeah, it's worthwhile if you're getting back into it to go through these classes and tags and just make sure it's all set up the way you want it to be. Um, Even as far as mob actions and paddock actions, are these the actions that you use in Mobble? Are there extra ones? Add them or remove them. Um, so yeah, I think that's worth noting, especially for those coming into the new year. Yeah. All right. So I think I've covered most things I want to. So I'm going to transition into, so that's pretty broad overview of Mobile. There's way more to it. And we could keep talking for another hour. But what I'll do is I'll direct for people that have more questions. Um, Please go to the website, and this is our email and our phone. There's always someone on the phone during business hours, so give us a call. But what I'm going to transition to now is start talking about what we're features we just released and new integrations as well. So one thing that we've been rolling out across Mobile that we're super excited about is the ability to add files and images across the app. And it's slowly been rolling out to more and more parts of the app. So we started with sales and purchases. So when you add a sale, if we sold these sheep here, and yeah, the price, etc., we can add attachments to that. So we can add things like invoices, your NVDs, and files like that to this sale. And that can be stayed as storage in your sale record. So when you go to summaries, you go to sales, you may have that invoice for every single sale on the property, and same with purchases as well. It can even hold things like EBVs and different things as well for a purchase, and you'll have that in the summaries. So it's file storage for those sort of things. And we've continued to roll it out. So it's now on things like tasks. So for this task, I can now add an image to it. So you can be out there in the field and you see a hole in the fence. You can take a photo of that hole, and then it's really clear for the person that's going out to fix it that this is the area that needs attention, and stuff like that. So adding images to that is like an image viewer, it just pops up. You can quickly see the image. So that works really well. Um, and yeah, and then we've also just released adding files across mob actions and paddock actions. You sort of saw it before. So some people have been using this in different ways. So for this paddock, Colson's, I had a paddock action here. I can add a file to it. Some people are using this quite creatively. They're doing like weekly pasture updates. So they've got like, say, they might have an action here called, um, pasture performance or something, and they've created themselves, and they're adding in, they're no products, but they're adding in photos of how the pasture is looking over time, so they can go back and see, how the paddock looked last year versus this year, and stuff, and information like that, and comparing it to things like rainfall um, as well. So that's just one example, but pretty much it's the use cases are nearly endless, and we're seeing more and more use cases come out of this now that we've released it. So it's super exciting to see lots of modelers use this really well and get creative with it. Um, uh, yeah, so and we'll continue. We're going to continue rolling out the files and image across the app as well, so you can have that more central storage for your farm data. Um, and this is a preview link, but another thing where we're adding in to this files and images works is more like property level files as well. So you can drop in here maybe EID spreadsheets or your equipment machinery logs, or maybe you have a biodiversity plan or a biosecurity plan that you want to drop into the land environment section, and stuff like this, sort of more property level files. There's different restrictions on these files, so some people can have access, some people can't. For finance and administration, for example, only admins and owners can have access to this specific area. So there is restrictions. So you don't have to be too worried about uploading the information here as long as your permissions are right within the app. And then we're about to add also, so this hasn't been released yet. This is a preview. Um, and they were also about to release like the all files section where you can get a full summary of every single file on the property as well. So yeah, that's a bit of fun. We've just been releasing this, and it's just been a huge amount of uptake. So I thought I'd mention that. The other release I want to talk about is our first IoT release. So this is a fake property. Um, but it's showing an integration with Farmbot. So Farmbot is a company that does tank sensors, trough sensors, rain gauge sensors out in the paddock. And yeah, we've been working quite closely with them for the last couple of months. And what we've been able to do is via our integrations page, you can activate the integration if you have these sensors on your farm, and you can see some pretty cool information. So right here within Mobble, I can see at this tank in this paddock is 17.5% full. And if I go into this tank here, I can see over the past 24 hours, I can see it's been dipping down, 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 and maybe there's a hole in the pipe. I'm not sure, but maybe that's telling us a story that we need to action. Um, so really cool. It's really fun to see like someone else's company's data within Mobile like this. And we're going to continue rolling out at these integrations in time to come. Um, yeah, rain gauges and stuff in there too from Farmbot. So yeah, feel free to have a look. If you have Farmbot, please go ahead and set it up and let us know any feedback you have. And you can access integrations via the settings integration section. You can see we have integration with AgWorld as well. And Farmbot is our latest integration there. So you can connect it by clicking that bottom button and following the flow. We have more integrations coming up. So think of companies like Farmo, which is a Farmbot competitor, so we can give you guys options. And then also Optiway is one that's coming up as well, which we're really excited about. And we're working with these companies at the moment. Farm Focus from New Zealand is an accounting software we're working with as well. So this is a big focus for us in 2026 is making sure we can work work really well with the companies that create the full farm farm stack. So yeah, really exciting. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. And yeah, so Mobble, it is nice and simple, easy to use app, but we're sort of, there's all these different ways you can use it, all the different companies that you can now integrate with um, as well. So yeah, there's a little look into the future.
Jock,
Um,
just we're on
yeah.
integrations quickly. We did have a question about the ag world integration and just understanding a little bit better. Sorry, if you don't mind, just quickly touching on it and what that integration is.
Yeah, for sure. So this is one we're improving at the moment. So if you are an AgWorld, so AgWorld is a crop management software. So across a lot of the world, we have farmers that say have livestock and crop. Now we're really good at livestock side. We're okay in cropping, but if you have say 50-60% of your farm's crop, you may use AgWorld to talk to your agronomist and to record things like spray records and actuals and different things. And so what we did is we integrated with AgWorld so we can get benefit from both worlds. For those that have that sort of business, can get the benefit from it. Since we released it a few years ago now, it's been a massive uptake and really well used. And the way it works, so if you sign up for Mobble, it's a couple of different ways it works. So sign up for Mobble, we can import all your paddocks or your fields from AgWorld directly into Mobble. So it's all set up from the get-go. It's pretty much instant. We also pass through livestock information from AgWorld into Mobble. So these little mob pins, so from AgWorld into Mobble, yep. So those little mob pins you see in Mobble, they also show up, different view. It's not quite the same, but they also show up in AgWorld. So the cropping side of the business can see where livestock are, see what's happening, seeing how long paddocks have been grazed for and rested for, and stuff like that. So they can get that, view of where the livestock are without ringing the livestock manager um, or going to another app, for example. The thing we're working on right now is bringing, so AgWorld, if you're using AgWorld, you're doing a lot of your spray records and stuff within AgWorld. And we're bringing withholding periods into Mobble. So big thing for some parts of Australia and New Zealand is knowing which paddocks are in withhold, so you can't move livestock into them. And we're dragging that information from AgWorld into Mobble, so the paddock will show red if it's in withhold, and you'll get a warning if you try to move livestock into it. Um, I will note you can already record spray records within Mobble, and the withholding period gets attached to Mobble this way. But it's for people that are maybe more 50 to 60% cropping that may use this AgWorld Mobble integration. Yeah, hope that's a good overview.
Jock, a question on withholds. Is there any warnings for mobs with drench and backlining withholds?
Yeah. So so when you apply a drench on a mob, um, it'll pop up with a little red. I think there's any livestock here that are in withhold. So it's maybe I'll just try and find a farm with the withhold. There you go. So this mob here with a red dot on it, that means these sheep are withhold, and we can't sell them at the moment until that withhold's gone. So yeah, and I can go into this mob here. These are Border Leicester Rams, and I can see that a drench was applied on the 21st, and that this mob will be coming out of withhold tomorrow. So all good from tomorrow. So that's how that works on mobs, similar to how it works on paddocks um, as well. I hope that's clear. We have a wool withhold as well for people who have backlining, potentially to do with wool as well. It doesn't come up within this one. I think it will in the future. But you can go into the record and see that withhold there as well. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to open up for questions from here on in. So yeah, if there's any questions, please let me know, and we can go through it together. But yeah, hopefully it's been a good session. Yeah, it's great to get back into the webinars. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jock. Just a reminder, keep sending questions through to the chat. But in the meantime, Jock, we did have a question come through about will Mobble work without connectivity? So for a bit of context, the question was, when I'm in the paddocks with agronomists or alike, we don't have any mobile or internet service, but we'll need to access Mobble information. So can I set up Mobble to work without connectivity?
Yeah, for sure. So mobile will work offline, on your phone. Um, It'll remember your last session you've had with Mobble, and all the information that was on it. So what I'd recommend, if you're at the house and you've got Wi-Fi, before you head out in the field, before you head out into the paddock, maybe just open Mobble and open the map page, and it'll drag in most of the most recent information into the phone, and it'll keep it there when you go offline. So I just recommend opening it up. There is a button. I can't see it on this on the computer version, but there is a button in settings, and it's called offline management or something. But it's not not on the web app, obviously. And there is like a sync button where it forces Mobble to update all your records. But generally, if you open the app in the morning, it'll update all the records. And then when you're out in the field, it'll work offline, and you'll be able to see most of most of your records. It doesn't go like you can't see all the records forever because that'd be too much data, but you can see the most recent ones. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. We did also have a question about making Mobble work for a high school farm and students, but I'm thinking maybe reach out directly to us and we can sort of discuss what that could look like and how we can make that work for you. We had a question from Jade. In your mob history, can you separate mob moves from mob actions so you don't have to look through all of your mob moves to find your last treatment, etc.?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So we have, especially on the web app, I think, if we go into the mob here and review mob, you've got this big history here that goes forever, which has all the different histories. If I just keep scrolling down, I have all the mob actions related to these mobs. You can see it's a bit more of a table view, but this is just the mob actions, or just the casualties. So it splits it out for you. You see this trench is applied to a lot of different mobs. Um, so that's the way that works on web. On the mobile phone, though, the best way to do this is I can get the mobile view like this, is to go to history, um, and filter, and you can filter just for mob actions. So I can go anything to do with mob actions, and it'll filter just for that, just for mob actions, like that. There we go. Refreshed it and it loaded a few more. Um, so yeah, I can see that's how you do it on the phone version. Yeah. It's the same with the paddock as well. It works exactly the same way. Yeah.
Thanks, Jock. Another question from Lucy saying, do you have to sync your app or data at the end of every time you use it to make sure other employees or users can see what you've done? I know with AgriWeb, I had trouble with making a move, and an employee would make a move and we can't see it straight away unless we both sync our data.
No, there's no like you don't need to sync it per se. But so if you're in service, you have internet connection and you do a movement, and you move that mob here, um, it'll update across everyone's devices pretty much instantly. Well, next time when they open the app, it'll fetch it and update it. Um, if you're offline though and you do a mob move, there is like an offline sync. So you have to when you come back to the service, you have to do an offline syncing back of the things that you did. So generally, no, generally there's no syncing needed. It just happens live. But if you did something offline, it'll notify you, but it'll have to sync it back when you're online, because yeah, it's not creating that live record. So no, you don't have to sync, only when you have offline records. Yeah, good question there. Yeah, no, it works pretty seamlessly, with those records updating on the fly. Yeah.
That's all the questions that we have at the moment, Jock. What I'll do is I'll just share our contact details again into the chat. So our email address you can send at any time, and our phone numbers you can text or call as well. And there is always someone on those lines during business hours. So I'll send those through again now. But otherwise, Jock, I think that's it for the time being.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for joining. If you have any feedback, if you have any more questions, once again, please reach out to our number or our email. The product is built off farmer feedback, so don't be shy. And if there's something that's not working for you, let us know, and we'll always endeavour to make it better. So yeah, once again, thank you. Cheers.